Hi everyone, this is Elena of the Witches Box, and I'm here today with another episode of Witch Booktube. And today we are back with our Anousen Leonte marathon. The saga continues as I still keep searching for a scrap of information on this person. There is no bio to be found. There is no trace of them outside of the books that they've written and put out on the internet. The mystery has hooked me because I'm in this place where I find it almost impossible. This is like the things that I take for granted, right? I find that it is almost impossible for any human being on the planet to be out there and not have at least one smattering of a trace of them on the interwebs. Like, what is this about? I want to know. Why isn't there a blog where I can read more, where I can send an email and say, oh my gosh, you said this and it really spoke to me and I really want some, ask some questions. Can I do that? There's no way to do that. So my interest is piqued. That's what it is, and I will keep looking. But for now, we're just going to have to settle with the fact that there are about 15 books out there by this person, and they're great. And we're going to keep talking about it. So today, we're talking about his Sigil Magick, the Basics book. Again, another really quick read, less than an hour to an hour max. As always, as all of them, they're all in digital. This is in digital. It's $2.99 on Amazon. There may be other places to get that for a little less. So we have talked about sigils on this channel before. We have certainly talked a lot about sigils with the people who are subscribed to the box and who got the Sigil Witchery box. Sigils are a big thing around here. I love working with sigils. And that I remember accurately, we have 2 book reviews on sigils here on this channel that I'll link to below. The Sigil Witchery book by Laura Tempest Zakroff and the Practical Sigil Magic by Frater UD. There may be another one. However, several weeks ago, when I did a review on the 6 Ways by Aidan Wachter, there was a whole section there on how he works with sigils and servitors that just blew my mind. It took me to a whole other level of understanding with sigils, so I will also link to that below. All that to say, already you know me and you know that I want to take these books or take books that are a deeper level of witchcraft practice to share with you as opposed to all of the basic books that we have out there. And this book's title can be deceptive because it says the Sigil Magick or Sigil Magick, the Basics, but it is much more than what we have covered in any way, shape, or form. So for me, this isn't a 101 book at all. It would be like a 201, maybe even I would say a 201 and a half, right? Like it's because what it covers are things like the different materials to create sigils on and what those materials can lend to the type of magic, the different elements and how to destroy your sigils with different elements in order to activate longer term, shorter term type of activated magic. I mean, this is stuff that we don't talk about. It talked about sigils as servitors, sigils as god forms, and sigils as egregores. I don't know that I'm pronouncing that correctly. So it takes sigil work into that realm, which was something that was new to me and I had discovered through reading 6 Ways. So I recommend this book. If sigil is something that you really are drawn to, if it's a type of magic that really serves you, I would absolutely get this book because this gives you a much deeper foundation as to the possibilities of how you can work with sigils. I loved this book, and there are, in the list of books that I can find that he's written, there are about 4 that he talks about different sigil work with. So this is the first of all of those that I'm going to cover, and we'll talk about the others, or one of the others, in the next video. But again, if this is something that you're interested in, I highly recommend it. Get it, because it gives you a much broader magical foundation formula with which to work with sigils that I really appreciated and I think would also really work towards enhancing your magical practices. The other thing I want to say about this book, all of his books, and about the writers that I'm really enjoying when it comes to this topic, or the topic of magic and witchcraft in general, is this notion that there is very much this advocacy for take this formula, work it, and work it again, take notes, be your own scientist, make it your own so that if what I do doesn't work for you, you can still tweak it. It's important that we make our internal selves our primary authority so that you may get information from me, you may get information from this writer on how to do a specific thing, but until you've worked it yourself, until you've done your experiments to see how it may work or may not work for you and your particular skill set, it doesn't become your own. The way to make sure that you continue to develop your own internal connection to your deep knowing and deep wisdom, which you already possess, is to do magic this way, to experiment, to check in with yourself. Did this work for me? Did this not work for me? What might work better for me than it did for her? And continue to be a scientist. Work those theories out and tweak and reiterate, because that is what's going to develop for you your deepest relationship with that wisdom that you already possess, that we have been oppressed from, that we have been blunted from, that we all on our spiritual path have to continue working at uncovering, right? This is the way to do it. So I appreciate that about this book. I appreciate that about this writer. It is probably one of the many things, I think that I repeat things often. There is a list of things that I repeat all the time because they're so important and I want to drive those things home. This is a great formula. There are great formulas in here on what to do to take this type of practice deeper. I encourage you to do that and then make it your own. Try to work it out, which then speaks to something else about witchcraft, which is there are so many things that we can all be practicing, and it can almost feel like there isn't enough time in a day, in a month, in a week, in a year to do all these things. And you're not meant to, right? And I think that that's important, because when you are part of a community like the Witches Box, where I'm sharing with you as many things as I can, where if you're part of the subscription box, I am sending you a different type of ritual or a different type of spell each month, there can be this sensation of, oh my gosh, I have to do all the things, and I have to be good at all the things, and I have to practice all the things. That's not how this works. You choose what's calling to you the most at the time, and then dive into that. I want to encourage that, because I know that particularly in this world of just noise that we live in, getting caught up into the noise of more and more and more, have to, right now, there's not enough time, can really just stunt us in every part of our lives. So I empower you to make choices. If sigil work isn't something that you are really wanting to dive deep into right now, don't buy the book. It'll always be there, so you can get it later when you're ready to dive into it. But if this is something that you want to dive into and really focus on, this is a really helpful book, and I really recommend it. So there you go. There are all sorts of links down below. I encourage you to look down there, because there'll be some videos in there and links and things, so go for that. Please remember to subscribe if you haven't subscribed already, and I will see you in the next video. Blessed be.